89% of first-time visitors will never return to your church. And it's not because they didn't like your sermon, it's because you never actually connected with them. Today, I'm gonna show you the exact 3-step system that I use at my church to connect with visitors before service, during the service, and after the service. My team and I have helped implement this visitor journey process for 628 different churches, and we found that it works regardless of church size. Let me show you how. Well, hey guys, my name is Thomas here from Reach Right, and we put out new content like this every single week. So if you find this helpful for your church, I bet there's some other content we've done that will really be helpful to you as well. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Now, here's something that I found. Most church leaders wrongly assume that when someone doesn't come back to your church service, it's because you did something wrong. Maybe you weren't friendly enough, or your sermon wasn't good enough, or your worship was too demonstrative. There's all kinds of lies we tell ourselves about why we are not the right fit for someone that may have visited. But in my experience, it comes more down to the fact that we never really made a connection with a visitor. That's the main reason why they don't come back. And when I say connection, what I mean is someone from your church's team actually meeting someone, learning a little bit about them, and most importantly, getting their contact information so you can continue the follow-up process after Sunday morning. One of the things I try to tell my team is that every visitor that leaves without us getting their information is really an enormous missed opportunity. Because here's what we found. When we actually get a visitor's information when they come for the first time, their odds of returning skyrocket if we're able to follow up with them. That's why it's an absolute must that you find a way to collect information from everybody that walks in your doors for the first time. Let's start with before service. Now, the goal of this time here is to make some kind of a connection with a visitor and to get that first-time visitor card into their hand. And I think if you set it up right, you should have lots of opportunities to make those connections. The first place at my church where we do it is right in the parking lot. Now, a lot of churches skip this and they just assume that visitors will find ways based on signage or an obvious front door to get into your building. But if we can actually meet first-time visitors right when they get out of their cars and help them have a great first experience in the beginning, we've seen that that actually helps our odds of someone filling out one of those visitor cards. What I've seen one church do is have specially designated premium parking for first-time visitors. There's a sign right when you pull onto the church property, and it says, if you're a first-time guest, turn on your hazard lights, and we have a special parking space just for you. This is a great foolproof way to identify someone who's there for the first time, and you can really give them that first-time visitor treatment because they've identified themselves by claiming the great parking. Now, at my church, we have actually trained our greeters to walk with first-time visitors up all the way to our sanctuary. And because I'm in Hawaii and most churches here meet in public schools and other facilities like that, it's a pretty long walk. Our greeters have a good 90 seconds to walk with the person, tell them a little bit about the church. The children's ministry is along the way, and they can help someone just kind of get acquainted with the facilities and what their first experience will be like. Now, once they're in the doors, you want to make sure to point out your welcome center, or maybe you call it a next steps table, whatever that name of the section is. You want to make sure a visitor knows exactly where they can go if they want to learn more about your church or maybe take a next step. And finally, before service, we found that it's really effective to have someone in the role of sanctuary host. So this person will just kind of explain a little bit about what's going to be happening on the day and what a visitor can do or doesn't have to do to be part of the service. At my church, this means someone getting up about 2 minutes before our worship starts and inviting everybody in to find their seats and letting them know a little bit about what's going to happen during the service there. You have to remember, when you're at a church for the first time, you're probably wondering, what am I supposed to do next? And is this a church where everybody stands, or am I going to have to take communion? Do I have to give in the offering? This is a chance for you to put all of those fears to bed and help someone feel really comfortable, and the host is the right person to do that. I also make sure that our hosts call attention to that card that our visitor received and make sure they know why that's so important, because we actually give our visitors a gift when they turn in that card at our next steps table after the service, or if they do it during our offering time. For us at our church, we just started offering a free scoop of ice cream from a local ice cream shop. This is a really fancy place with really gourmet ice cream, but we were able to work out a deal where they give us a discount on individual coupons in exchange for buying bulk. But every single visitor really loves loves the gift, and it makes them more likely to turn in that card. Now, maybe that rubs you the wrong way. You feel like, well, why do I have to give someone an exchange like this? Well, you have to remember that in this day and age, people are very protective of their personal information. A visitor's probably wondering, well, what are they gonna do with this? Why do they wanna know what my email address is? And I'm not ready to commit to this yet, but we've found that if we can have some conversation, connect with them, and if we can incentivize them to give us that contact information, it really helps get them over the edge and lets us really start building that relationship. But getting the card into their hand, that's really just the first step. The next step is helping them have the courage to actually fill out the card and give us their information. And usually this is something that happens during the service. And that makes it the job of both the pastor of the church and whoever the host or the person giving the announcements is. One thing we do at my church to help visitors feel comfortable is make sure that everybody that speaks on stage gives a full introduction as to who they are and maybe why they're on stage in the first place. So our worship leader, our announcement person, our host, our pastor, even though the vast majority of the church knows who these people are, we still are in the habit of saying, hey, my name is Thomas. I'm one of the pastors here. And if it's your first time here, I just want to say I'm so thankful for you being here. I hope I get a chance to meet you after service. So something as simple as that really can make a big impact. Now, when it comes time for the announcements, you want to make sure you call attention to that card again. This is where you're going to actually go through the steps and explain what this card is all about. You'll explain to someone, hey, if you're here for the first time, we would love it if you would just fill out a little bit of your information. We're not asking for much, but we just want to send you a little bit of info about what's happening here at the church and maybe some of your next steps on how you can get involved. And here's some great news. If you hand this card in after service over at the next steps table, we actually have a free scoop of ice cream at that gourmet ice cream shop down the road here. I really hope you take advantage of that. It's as simple as that, and you've given someone a good reason to actually fill out the card. And one thing I should have mentioned probably before is that when someone comes for the first time, make sure they have a way to write on your Connect card. They'll need to have a pen to do something like that. And in this day and age, you can't assume that everybody that comes in your doors will have a pen. So you'll either want to have one in the seat pocket in front of them, or make sure you just give it to someone with that Connect card when they first show up. One other tip I have for you is that in the announcement time, make sure you say something to the effect of, go ahead and fill out that card now so that they know this is the time that I have to fill that out. Give them plenty of space to do it. Don't start your message right away. Maybe you'll talk about some other announcements, but give them an instruction that this is the time that we typically do this here in our church, and you'll see more cards get filled out. Something as simple as that really helps them get over the hump and get to that next steps table where you're gonna have a team of people ready to receive them, give them their gift, and start a conversation about what their next step might actually look like. Now, how you execute this is gonna depend on what your church is like. If you're a mega church, you're probably gonna have dozens of people manning this next steps area. If you're a smaller church, maybe it's just one or two people. But one thing I've found is that as a pastor of a church, I find that you get the best results if you are standing there at the next steps table with a chance to meet visitors. If it can't be you, I understand it can be really hard and you're pulled in lots of different directions right after service on Sunday. But if at all possible, we've seen that that gets the best results. At a minimum, I think it's important to have someone that was up on stage be there in the next steps table after service, whether it's your worship leader or maybe even the host, the person that did announcements or welcomed a visitor for the first time. Now, one thing I found at my church is that we don't really connect the dots that hard when it comes to the connection card for the ice cream. If someone doesn't feel comfortable giving us their connection card or their contact information, or maybe they misplaced it, we're not gonna say, well, get it filled out and then you can have your gift. No, we're gonna be generous and give them their ice cream no matter what. And I will say this in case you're wondering, we give an ice cream to every member of a family. It's not one cone per family, but one cone per person in the family. And believe me, I know it can add up if you have a large family visit and you're giving them a gift card. It might cost $30 or even $40 for a really large family if you're gonna give them a generous gift like this. But we have seen that people respond so well to a church that's generous and gives them a gift that they can actually use. Here's a mistake I've seen so many churches do is giving people a gift they don't actually want when they come for the first time. Well, let's face it, most people don't want a mug or a pen or a notebook that has your church's logo on it. That's not something that's actually valuable. So try to find that thing that actually represents something valuable that someone would want when they stop by that next steps table. From there, you want to make sure your next steps team is really trained to help people make a connection at that next steps table. Ask them about themselves, get them to talk about where they're from and what they do for work and who their family members are. Here's why. You're going to have a very thorough follow-up process where any relationship you built on Sunday, you'll be able to parlay that into some of your conversations that you have offline in your follow-up follow-up process. If I had to sum it up with really one word, I would say being intentional. Intentional about greeting people when they're walking in from the parking lot, intentional about what we say on Sunday morning during our services, and intentional with the way we give gifts and we relate to people after service. If you are intentional with this process, you will get more connection cards. In fact, what I've seen at my church is that before we implemented this follow-up process, we think we were seeing about 40% of first-time visitors filling out a connection card. Fast forward to after we've started this process, we're seeing over 80% of first-time visitors actually turning in their card, receiving their gift, allowing us to have further conversation with them. To that end, I should probably also mention that my church revamped our entire visitor follow-up process and the communication that we send after someone comes for the first time. In fact, I recently did a video breaking down the exact changes that we made, and in it, I actually break down the specific texts, emails, and handwritten cards that we send out and the exact words we use that we've seen the best results with. So in that, I include a free link where you can download my exact recipe for that. So I think you should watch this video and get that free download next.